The Great War had four underlying causes. You've got imperialism, nationalism, militarism, and the alliance system. But what was the thing that really kicked off the war? What was kind of the spark that ignited everything? Well, stick around because that's what we're going to talk about today in Mr. E's classroom. Hey ladies and gentlemen, Mr. E here. Today's video is entitled Igniting the Powder Keg. We're going to talk about what really sparked off the Great War. Specifically, we're going to try to find an answer to the question, how did things in Europe escalate so quickly to war? Because we kind of went from 0 to 100 in no time flat. So stick around, pay attention to the video, and hopefully at the end you'll have an answer. Everything really revolves around this guy right here. He's the Archduke of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. His name is Franz Ferdinand. His uncle, Franz Joseph, was the Austro-Hungarian Emperor, the guy in charge. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was a very powerful state in Europe right around the turn of the 20th century. Franz Ferdinand was a really moderate politician within that political structure. He really understood kind of what people were looking for. And in Europe at the time, you had a lot of smaller groups that were really pushing to basically get countries of their own. Among these was a group of people known as the Serbians. They really wanted to kind of expand an area they called Bosnia. Things really head south when this guy right here, Gavrilo Princip, decides to assassinate Franz Ferdinand when he's on a kind of a diplomatic mission in a place called Sarajevo, which is a city in Bosnia. This all happened on June 28, 1914. Be sure you write that date down. It's going to be really important. Princip was a member of a group called the Black Hand. The Black Hand, by the way, that has to be one of the best militant organization names ever thought of. The Black Hand was a militant group that really wanted to see all the Serbian people united under one country. And there's a lot of people that believe the Black Hand had ties to the Bosnian government. Princip decides to jump out of a crowd, jump onto Franz Ferdinand's car, and pull out a pistol and bang bang, shoot him and his wife dead. When this happens, things just head south fast. That assassination essentially lights the fuse on one of the biggest bombs in history. What happens after the assassination is the Austro-Hungarian Empire basically demands that Serbia kind of agree to some very, very unrealistic demands because of this assassination. Because Franz Ferdinand is assassinated kind of on Serbia's watch and in Serbia's territory, Austria-Hungary basically says, hey, we want to control you now. That really didn't go over very well. In fact, Serbia kind of goes and talks to one of its buddies, Russia, and says, hey, can you help us out? Russia basically pledges to protect Serbia. If Austria-Hungary decides to invade and attack, Russia is going to be there to kind of have Serbia's back. Russia and Serbia kind of shared this kind of cultural connection known as the Slavic nations. And on top of that, Russia really kind of wants to improve its image in Europe. It kind of wants to get a little bit of respect that it feels like it's never really had. And by sticking up for the little guy, Russia says, this is the way I can get some good street cred. When Russia steps in to back Serbia, Austria-Hungary says, well, I've got friends too, and they go and talk to their buddy Germany. When Germany responds, Germany issues what is referred to as the blank check of support. That's Germany basically telling Austria-Hungary, hey, whatever you need, we'll be glad to help you out. Germany really never expected the conflict to kind of come to anything, but History tells us otherwise. When that happens, when Germany steps up with their blank check, Russia makes this huge show of basically gearing up for war and letting everybody know just how big and bad it is, and that if there's going to be a war, they're going to win. Well, when this happens, Germany kind of looks around and says, there's going to be a conflict. We better handle this really quick. And Germany steps up and preemptively declares war on Russia. Well, when Germany declares war on Russia, Russia's buddy France steps in and says, hey, Russia, we've got you. We think Germany's a little bit crazy too, and we'll be glad to help you out. When France steps in to back Russia, Germany decides just to go ahead and invade France to kind of take care of them too. There's a thing known as the Schlieffen Plan. Germany cooks up the Schlieffen Plan as a sneaky way to invade France by going through a little tiny country called Belgium. Basically, they think France will never see this coming. When that happens, Belgium kind of starts scratching its head a little bit and says, why is Germany going to move through us? We haven't really done much of anything, but they also really don't do a whole lot to try to stop Germany. Really, they just kind of stand there and watch Germany march on through. Now, if that's not confusing enough as it is, things get even better. Great Britain, who is really a very close ally with Belgium, basically steps in and says, hey Belgium, we've got you. We see Germany trying to invade you, so we're going to declare war on Germany on your behalf. And for the most part, Belgium is still really kind of confused as to what's going on. And really not to want to be left out of anything, Italy jumps in and joins the Triple Alliance along with AustriaHungary and Germany because, well, they really didn't have anything else to do, and Italy wanted to be a part of everything also. And with all that, really and truly now the Great War has begun. And we call this a world war because all of the major European powers involved, Austria-Hungary, Germany, Russia, France, Great Britain, they all have colonies all over the world that start fighting each other also. Now at this point you might be thinking to yourself, Mr. E, we're a U.S. history class. What the heck's going on with the United States when all this is happening? Well, the United States sees this war in Europe almost as a good thing, because with all the European powers fighting themselves, somebody has to be able to sell them war goods, things to actually fight the war with, and it just so happens the United States is really good about making things. Profits really soar because the United States starts basically supplying both sides. When the war initially kicks off, the United States remains neutral, and we make a huge amount of money by selling to both sides. Now, really and truly, we kind of lean towards the Triple Entente with Great Britain and France because they've always been our buddies, but hey, a dollar's a dollar, and why not make a dollar when we can sell to both the Triple Entente and the Triple Alliance? And ladies and gentlemen, that's really how the Great War gets started. I've got two takeaways for you from this video. Number one is that remember that it only took a tiny spark to really set all of Europe off. In this case, that spark was the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. The second takeaway that I want you to get from this video is that it really is because of the alliance system that once one country threw in with all its buddies, everybody else in Europe had to throw in as well, and it escalated what should have been a really tiny regional conflict into the First World War. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you got some great notes and were paying attention. As always, be ready for that quiz that'll happen in class. Until next time, remember, don't stop learning.